European Parliament lawmaker and leader of the UK's Independence Party, Nigel Farrage, has stepped down as UKIP leader.
I came into politics from business because I believed that this nation should be self-governing. I have never been, and I've never wanted to be, a career politician. My aim in being in politics was to get Britain out of the European Union. That is what we voted for in that referendum 2 weeks ago, and that is why I now feel that I've done my bit, that I couldn't possibly achieve more than we managed to get in that referendum, and so I feel it's right that I should now stand aside as leader of UKIP. I will continue to support the party.
During a press conference in London, Farrage hailed the outcome of the UK's vote to leave the European bloc and described it as a great historic victory. The member of EU Parliament, who was one of the leading forces behind the Brexit vote, also called for a strong team of negotiators to lead Britain in the upcoming talks with the European Union. The outgoing UKIP leader added that the next Prime Minister should be a figure from the Leave camp and that he or she should cut clear red lines while holding talks with Brussels. Farrage mentioned that he'd continue his job as a member of the European Parliament for the time being. Investigative journalist Tony Gosling joins us now from Bristol to offer us more insight on that story. Mr. Gosling, Nigel Farrage says that his political ambitions have been achieved. Your reaction to him stepping down as a leader of UKIP?
Well, of course, they haven't quite been achieved, have they? Because Britain hasn't actually gone through this process yet of leaving the European Union, which is what the people of Britain have voted for. There's actually quite a lot of a backlash over here against that. And also, the other thing is the main contender for the new Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has also stepped out of the race. So we are in a bit of a state of flux over here as to what's really going to happen. In fact, Theresa May, who's the front runner to take over as Prime Minister at the moment, she was part of the Remain campaign. So welcome to Project Chaos in Britain. Actually, in a way, it's quite refreshing to have things not all set up from behind the scenes by the establishment, because that's what normally happens. It's been a long journey for Farrage since 1994 when he first stood as an MP, and started really this whole mission. But the vote that was a couple of weeks ago for Brexit is really just the start. It started in a way a kind of house of cards right across Europe, with Italy, Portugal, Austria, France and Holland all saying that they are considering a similar sort of vote to what's happened in Britain. The European Union project has failed. And also, let's not forget, we've got very little, if any, real representation for the UK Independence Party in British politics. Despite millions of votes, tens of millions in the referendum, it shows how hollow our democracy's become when a party with such a lot of popular support that can win a national referendum has got only one MP. Within the United Kingdom Independence Party, there's now a battle going on for control of that, and they're also talking about getting rid of Douglas Carswell, who's the UK Independence Party's only Member of Parliament. And so this is why I say Project Chaos. You've got a similar problem going on within the Labour Party. I just think that there's a lot of people who are very powerful in this country who are extremely annoyed, and of course within the European Union, and powerful rich people who have decided that this is going to be the punishment that Britain gets. Now, this is a political punishment, but there may also be more financial punishment down the line. Because there's a lot of powerful people in the world that don't want this Britain to send this signal to the rest of the European Union that actually you can get out of this, because Britain is the first country to have signalled that it's possible to get out of the EU.
What's the outlook for the UKIP party, both in terms of UK politics and also in the post-Brexit era? Do you think that they should have a role in any of the Brexit negotiations?
Well, of course they should, if politics was working, but it isn't working here in Britain, and that's partly why this referendum was called in the first place, because we've got a cartel of career politicians, many of whom we've seen with basically sabotaging the Labour Party for the benefit of Tony Blair and his friends over the last couple of weeks. That there is real serious problems in British politics where the people are not represented, ordinary people are not represented, the voices we hear on our TV screens, the politicians simply do not represent ordinary people's feelings. And the money is what really is the main currency, not votes in politics. And that money has been buying up our political parties, effectively bribing MPs, even though it's not an official bribe. What they're saying is they're giving them prospects of careers after they've finished politics. And this has completely taken over our politics. Also, of course, the money is buying the media, buying particularly the London media, which does the national and international coverage of our affairs. So what is desperately needed is the UK Independence Party. I think Farrage should have stayed to see this through the 2 years of negotiations, because there are a lot of people, forces at work trying to make sure that that Brexit vote doesn't take effect.
Thank you very much. Tony Gosling, investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol.